I'm Lori McNee with Ion Sun Valley, and this is Art Beat. And today I'm with Christine Warjone in the Ketchum Industrial Area, kind of the arts district, in her amazing studio. This is truly one of the best studios I've seen anywhere. It rivals New York lofts and LA studios I've been in. It's just, in fact, we had a hard time knowing where to even set up because every corner of this space is amazing. So you've been in here since 2012, correct?
That's correct, and I love this area, and thank you for that introduction.
Yes.
That's, oh shucks, you know, that's beautiful, thank you. I love this space. It is my happy place, definitely.
And you said this room was your favorite within the studio.
Because this is where, for lack of a better description, the magic happens.
Yes.
And by magic, it's not necessarily the product I put out I'm referring to as magic. It's the magic of the creation. It's the magic of my music when I play it. It's the light, it's the sound, it's the smell of the studio. And so this is where the magic happens. It's my favorite spot.
So Christine, one of the things I really admire about you, being a visual artist myself, is how versatile you are. You are constantly coming up with something new to say, and you have so many different genres. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I get bored with one genre.
Okay.
When I started painting, Lori, I was doing a lot of realism. I loved painting people, some animals, some feathered friends. And I still like doing that, and I go back to that. It's very easy for me to do that. So when something is that easy, it becomes a little boring.
Yes.
So I wanted to test myself, and I started working with abstract. I started working with different mediums. I started using acrylics and resins and pouring mediums and mixed media with papers and using some realism with the abstract. So it's been a journey and it's been a lot of fun, and I tend to work on 2 or 3 different styles simultaneously.
Styles even, not
yes,
okay, that's
absolutely.
interesting.
And subjects. And what I'll do is I'll work with one subject for quite some time and keep the other one off in the distance, maybe like the donkey that's behind me, because his style's so different.
Right.
I'll watch him and look at him while I'm working on another style. When you came into the studio earlier today, I had something on the floor.
Yes.
I'd been walking around that for several days. Just to get an idea of how that was going to grow.
Living with it, yes.
So yeah, I'll work on 2 to 3 different styles and series simultaneously.
So I think it's so wonderful. You've been in this space since about 2012, and then you shared with me before we went on camera that in 2009 is when you kind of started your artistic journey, and it was due to kind of a very personal, transformative time in your life. And I know you don't want to go deep into that, but maybe it is interesting. At that point, you were already a grandmother, correct? And you had dabbled in art throughout the years, but it really took you in a new direction where you wanted to really follow the passion of art. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I can, and I will. In 2009, I have what I refer to as I had a medical odyssey.
Yes.
And it was a 9-month program that started extremely quickly and surprising. It was a spontaneous event, not an accident. And with that, there was collateral medical damage.
Yes.
So I spent a great deal of time in bed and then in a wheelchair. With that said, I said one day to my husband, I really want to start painting again. And through my time of sleep and relaxation, I thought about things I had done in my past that were very important to me. And one was working with a humanitarian group and traveling offshore.
Oh, wonderful.
And so I wanted to paint the people and the children that I met. And one evening, my husband came home from his office, and he had canvas and paints.
That's beautiful.
And a tarp. And I never looked back.
That's so wonderful. How nice to have that supportive husband too. That really helps. And at that stage, like I said, you're a grandmother and you just are coming out from that dark place, but art is so healing, isn't it?
Yes.
And at that point, you were doing some figurative work, but did it also make you want to be more free, and that's where possibly you started exploring the other mediums because it felt more liberating? Would that be part of it, would you say?
No, I have to say that the first 3 years, 4 years, I pretty much stayed on path.
Did you?
With realism, people, animals, feathered friends. And I didn't really get into anything that was really outside of the box.
Okay.
And then I gave myself permission. And I think that's what being an artist is all about.
Yes.
You have to give yourself permission to do whatever it is that brings you joy and translates to whatever you're putting it on, a wall, a board, a canvas.
That's right.
And I remember, I remarked to my husband one day, I said, it just occurred to me that no one has to see what I'm doing. And once I realized that no one had to see what I was doing, I could run a knife through it if I didn't like it.
And that's interesting because, you know, for much of your career, you have chosen to represent yourself and not be gallery represented. And I know you're getting ready to show in Seattle in a gallery, so that will be a big change. And at that point, then people will be seeing it more so. So, and I, in this beautiful space she has, by the way, you should come visit sometime. It's a gallery in itself. I mean, I can see why you've been very happy just to stay here and show your work. And where else can we find your work? Online?
Yes, I have a website.
And what is that?
Warjone Art, so CWARJONE art.com.
All right.
And I do open my studio 3 to 4 times a year for private events. And you know, sales can take place then. But I also allow certain groups to use my studio because the venues are far and few between in Ketchum and Sun Valley and Haley.
That's nice to know.
And so the Women's Foundation used it one year, and it's just a great venue.
It's a beautiful backdrop for that, for sure. So what are your future plans? So you are going to be in a gallery. Are you working toward a series of art for that?
Yes, I am.
Okay. How many? About 8, 10? Or?
Yeah, probably a dozen pieces of different sizes.
You're working rather large right now.
And that's not going to Seattle.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm working on pieces that will be quieter, as I refer to quiet, and I can show you some of those later. There are a couple pieces on the wall here. Quieter pieces, and 3 really big ones, and then smaller ones to round it out and fill out that space.
So what inspires you? When you're creating a series of work, there's something, a theme between them all that's similar, or how do you create? How do you come up with new ideas to keep stretching and growing?
Well, for example, the Quiet series came from, I admired the athleticism of dancers and the athleticism of a person that plays a musical instrument. And the quiet strength that takes place. I mean, it is graceful and quiet and beautiful, but they are such athletes.
They are athletes.
So I wanted to honor that component of the beauty of those artists. And so I've done a series of musicians and dancers in a very quiet palette.
Oh, I love the sounds of that.
I'm enjoying it very much.
Oh, that'll be wonderful. Yeah. I'm sure that'll be well received. So Christine, when I walk through the doors of your studio, I feel like I'm walking in like a kid in a candy store. Like I've said earlier, this is an amazing studio. And I'm also, again, just so impressed that you are so experimental. And one of the things I haven't tried, I do some experimental work in my own art, but I'm much more traditional. So it's really fun for me to see what you're up to. And the resin, that's always really intrigued me. And it leaves such a beautiful finish. And it's quite toxic usually, but you have found something that VOCs, right, doesn't emit
free.
VOC free, which is great. And then, but you have to use like an open flame.
I do.
So tell us a little bit about that process.
It's a 2-part system. You mix it for 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, depending on how large the piece, and pour it, and then use a blowtorch to get all the bubbles out, or you hope you're getting all the bubbles out.
Yes.
Cover it to cure it for 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
Sand it, repeat, cover, cure, repeat, 3
My
pourings,
goodness.
yes.
3 pourings. Okay.
I do wear a mask when I sand.
Okay.
Even though it's VOC free, I prefer to wear a mask when I sand.
Well, good. Well, thanks for sharing those
Yes.
tips. And is there anything else you'd like to share about what you have going on, or anything about you before we end this wonderful interview?
Well, again, I'll say, shucks, thanks for that. No, I think I've said it all. I think I've
Okay.
said more than enough. So
Okay,
thank
and
you.
your website one more time for everybody?
Warjoneart.com.
Warjone Art. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here, and thanks for joining me on Art Beat.
Thank you.